the sign-in sheet's going around, so I didn't miss it. All right, so I wanted to add this little picture in here because the two girls are swapping, it looks like pudding for an apple. So hopefully when you are doing swaps, this isn't the exact swap you're making. Hopefully you're not taking the pudding over the apple, but we'll talk about something like that as we get through this. So the objectives this evening, you should be able to describe the importance of making food substitutions, name at least 2 things to look for in a food swap, and list at least 2 food swaps that you plan to try. So first of all, let's go over what is a swap. Basically, it's an exchange of a less healthy choice for a healthier choice, right? I think we kind of all understand that coming into this. But really, it's going to depend on your preference. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, it's there. Yeah, there's a sign on the door. Okay. Anyways. So really, the exchange is going to depend on your preferences, right? And some of the preferences might include texture or flavor. So maybe I tell you something to eat that's really healthy, and you're like, oh, I can't stomach that. Well, okay, maybe that's not something that you incorporate into your dietary lifestyle. Maybe heart health, diabetes, weight, or cancer prevention is a concern for you, and actually it really should be a concern for all of us, even if you don't have a family history of it, don't have a current concern for any of these things. These are all things we should be taking into account when we're making food choices. Perhaps you're on a lower carb, higher protein diet. Perhaps you're trying to eat clean. So again, more considerations. I think for most of us though, it's really all of the above, right? We're all looking to prevent many different things, health disparities. All right, so things to look for in a healthy food swap. First of all, think outside the box. And what I mean by that is think outside the prepackaged foods. So looking more at the fresh and frozen products, shopping around the outer perimeter where there's more fresh foods. Look for things that go through minimal or no processing. And get creative as well, especially for those of you that do like to cook. Experiment with cauliflower crust pizza instead of doing the dough. Zucchini noodles in your pasta, or spaghetti dishes instead of white noodles. These are all things you can kind of get creative with. Become label savvy. I won't go into too much detail with label reading because obviously that is a whole other topic that we can discuss. But I want to touch on the ingredient list. The ingredient list is just as important, if not sometimes more important than the actual nutrition facts label, the numbers. Because sometimes the numbers look really great, the calories are low and the fat's low and all that good stuff. And then you get to the ingredient list and you're like, oh, this isn't really made up of that great of stuff. So all of your ingredients are listed according to weight. So your first ingredient is always going to be more of it than your last ingredient. So you always want to take a look, especially at those first 5 to 7 ingredients. Avoid things like artificial colors, partially or hydrogenated oils, which is another term for trans fats. Sugars, or any word for sugar within the first 5 ingredients. And again, I think we talked about that, but there's about 60 different words for sugar. So it could be anything, molasses, agave, cane sugar, any of those types of words. And then, of course, trying to avoid things like chemicals or preservatives in our food as well. Things you want to look for in your ingredient list would be other words for fruit, whole grains, vegetables, the good stuff, right? When you're looking at nutrition facts, again, I think most of these everybody knows about, but look for lower sugar, sodium, fats, especially the saturated fats, higher in fiber, vitamins, and minerals, as well as your protein. All right, so a common question, and I think somebody asked this either at the last one or one of the previous ones. Somebody did ask this, well, what if I have, for instance, dressing, fat-free dressing versus a full-fat dressing, or one of those two comparisons. So the one thing that you can take a look at is the ingredient list, and you can kind of find out where your ingredients are coming from and whether or not they're a healthy choice. Or like, let's say you have the fat-free product and there's more sugars than the full fat product. It's one of those situations where you have to kind of weigh out what your main concerns are. Are you more concerned about your sugar intake? Are you trying to cut added sugars from your diet? Okay, then you may want to go with the full fat product, but then knowing that portion control will be especially important if you're going to go with a full fat product. So let's start talking about swaps, and we'll start with the food group. And again, I don't think any of these are earth-shattering to you, but if you're looking at canned fruits, you'll want to look for things that are canned in their own juices versus syrup. I think we all understand that the syrups are usually loaded with extra calories from sugar. The Dirty Dozen, are we all familiar with that by now? Sort of, a little, okay. So the Dirty Dozen refers to the top produce products that have the most amount of pesticides in them. You can just Google Dirty Dozen. The Environmental Working Group website has an updated list of the top fruits and vegetables with the most amount of pesticides in there. So if that's a concern to you and you want to cut down on intake of pesticides, you might want to switch over to organic products. Juicing is really big right now too. The main concern with juicing is just that if you're juicing, you might be stripping the fruits and vegetables of their fiber content. And fiber has a big impact on how we absorb nutrients in our diet and the rate at which we absorb those nutrients. So if you're stripping the fruits and vegetables of their fiber, you may be not getting a full benefit, and you're certainly not going to get a benefit from fiber. So a better alternative to juicing might be to have a smoothie, a homemade smoothie with some added protein. Just watch out with your smoothies, again, if you're adding added sugars or doing a flavored yogurt or some type of syrup to give it flavor, then that will add up quickly in calories as well. I want to take a look at two different fruit type snacks. On the left-hand column is an Ocean Spray Berries and Cherries fruit flavored snack. On the right-hand column is a Simply Balanced Organic Strawberry Fruit Strip. And I didn't include the actual nutrition facts. What I want us to take a look at is the ingredient list and compare side by side. I did include with the Ocean Spray fruit snack, I did include some of the things that it touts on its label because I do want to consider that as well. So let's look at the fruit snack. It says it has natural flavors and colors from natural sources, 100% daily value vitamin C, 80 calories per pouch, fat-free and gluten-free. So just with that little section there, anything that stands out to you?
Colors.
Colors and flavors. Colors and flavors. So and that's exactly what I wanted to point out. Anytime it says natural on a label, natural is not a legally defined term. So technically, any manufacturer could put natural on their product and get away with it because there is no legal ramifications with it, I suppose. So not that that's bad, it's just, honestly, I don't know what that means when they say natural flavors and colors. I don't know what to tell you there. So just keep that in the back of your mind. Anything else with the nutrition claims that are on the label?
Well, they're already fat-free and gluten-free. They don't need to mention it, but they're keywords these days.
Yeah, so she was pointing to the fat-free and the gluten-free. The fat-free is a given, you would hope. It's a given, because yeah, if it's a fruit-type product, it really shouldn't have extra fat in there. The gluten-free as well, you would think that it's a fruit product, it's not gluten-related. But you'd be surprised though, some products like salad dressings, things like that, do contain gluten in it. So, but yes, the manufacturer is savvy and they know how to use keywords that will draw people into their product. So that was the point there. All right, let's take a look at the ingredients. We've got a fruit juice blend from concentrate, which includes actual fruit, corn syrup, sugar, modified cornstarch, 2% or less of fruit pectin, citric acid, vitamin C, dextrose, sodium citrate, malic acid, vegetable juice and fruit juice, potassium citrate, mineral oil, natural flavor, carnauba wax, and beeswax. Anything that stands out there?
First five.
Yes, we've got,
Sugars are 2 and 3.
yeah, sugar, other words for sugar in the second and third. Ingredients. And actually, so the mineral oil adds a trivial amount of fat. So there is a little bit of fat in the product. Anything else there? Everything else I think is pretty good. I mean, potassium citrate is fine, ascorbic acid. Okay. All right, let's look at the organic fruit strips. Ingredients here, you've got organic apple puree concentrates, apple juice concentrates, natural flavor, organic strawberry juice concentrate, citrus pectin, lemon juice concentrate, vegetable juice, citric acid, and ascorbic acid. Any concerns or notable things here? Okay, doesn't sound like it. So yeah, I would agree. I don't have any outstanding concerns here. So just based on the two, which one would probably be the better pick, just based off of the ingredients at least?
The fruit strips.
The fruit strips, okay. Yeah, actually, I don't see any words for added sugar in there. It looks like all of the sugar is coming from actual fruits. So that's a good sign. All right, your vegetables, instead of canned, you can look for fresh or frozen. I think we all know the canned adds added sodium to our diets, which can contribute to blood pressure concerns. Again, you can take a look at the Dirty Dozen list for vegetables. And just a note about pesticide exposure. Most studies right now focus on occupationally exposed people with pesticides. So unfortunately, we don't have a lot of studies looking at just consumption through food of pesticides, but it does say there's a potential concern for respiratory, memory, skin, depression, miscarriage, birth defects, cancer, and neurological concerns with pesticide exposure. So again, just something to consider when you're eating your produce. And if you decide not to go organic, just really rinse, really rub the surface, trying to get off some of that surface stuff. That can significantly reduce your pesticide exposure.
What about vegetable washes?
Yeah, I think they're okay. I mean, I just use good old
They help.
water and soap on most of my stuff. Or if it's something like strawberries, I don't use soap because they're so, you've got the seeds. So I just usually submerge my berries for like 2 minutes, rinse them really well, and that is supposed to help. Dairy products. Again, I think we've talked about instead of regular yogurt, you can swap that for a Greek yogurt. That'll get you anywhere upwards of 6 grams of protein or more. It saves you at least 12 grams of sugars. And then excess sugars are associated with inflammation. So if you have any concerns with joints or, again, blood pressure, cardiovascular disease, all of these things that have to do with inflammation, you may want to take a look at some of the added sugars that are in your diet. With cheese and milk, we're looking to substitute those things with part skim or 2% cheese, and then with milk, 1% or skim. The main concern with dairy is the saturated fats intake, and I know there's been a lot of research that's saying saturated fats are not the villain that we once thought they were, but the U.S. dietary guidelines are still advising against going over our recommended amount of saturated fats, which I think that goes for anything. We should still stay within a range.
I've read about skim milks that they contain more sugar.
You could do a comparison on the label. I know, typically the brands I buy have the same amount. So she was concerned about added sugars in the skim milk. So, but yeah, you could do a side-by-side comparison in the store and see. But I haven't found any concerns with the milks that I consume. Heavy whipping cream we can talk about with this time of year for those of you that like to use that in like baking. So you can use non-fat evaporated milk, which is typically fortified with vitamin D and unsweetened. Just to do a comparison here, 1 cup of regular cream has 414 calories versus the non-fat evaporated milk has 200. So right there, you're cutting it in half. The regular has 44.4 grams of fat, whereas the milk has 1 gram of fat. And the regular has 27.6 grams of saturated fat versus the non-fat evaporated milk has 0 grams of saturated fat. So that's a significant difference. Now you're probably not consuming a whole cup on your own, but again, these things add up over the course of a day, especially around the holidays. Sour cream, a nice substitution if you like Mexican dishes or baked potatoes. Plain Greek yogurt is a wonderful substitution because you can really boost your protein, which is going to stay with you longer than the sour cream might. Let's look at cream cheese versus ricotta, which actually, so on the left is 2 tablespoons of cream cheese, and on the right is 1 cup of ricotta. So I did do a conversion to make it easier for you guys to compare side by side. So, okay, if you can't see this, 2 tablespoons of cream cheese has 137 calories. 2 tablespoons of ricotta has 42. The cream cheese has 5.71 grams of fat. The ricotta has 2.4. For sodium, 62 milligrams in the cream cheese versus 38. Potassium in 11.55 grams in the cream cheese versus 38 milligrams in the ricotta. For carbohydrates, we have 22-ish for the cream cheese versus 1.6. And then for protein, it's a negligible amount, 0.03 grams in the cream cheese versus 3.5 grams in the ricotta. So what do we think here?
Is it just like regular straight cream cheese, not the Nutrichel or whatever?
Right.
And then the ricotta is like a 2% ricotta, or?
You know what? I didn't look at that. I just pulled
Because
a-
just like cottage cheese, ricotta has like many different levels.
Yeah, I didn't, you know what, I didn't. Although 30% of your calories from fat, I'm going to guess it's a fuller fat, but I don't know that for sure.
Okay.
So what do we think of the numbers at least? I don't have an ingredient list for this one, but
Riccotta's your
It
better
still has
choice.
it sweet.
the ricotta,
It can be sweeter.
yeah, and at least you're getting a little bit more potassium in the ricotta as well. You're getting a little bit more protein, so again, it might stay with you longer. Okay. All right, grains, again, no surprises here. Croissant or bagel can be swapped with a whole grain English muffin. Your white rices, breads, and pastas can be swapped with your brown rices or your whole grain versions of these foods. White versions are typically stripped of selenium, magnesium, and potassium. So that's what makes your whole grain versions a little bit better. And then also fiber can help with, depending on the type of fiber, it can either help with your cholesterol or it can sweep junk out of your GI tract as it leaves. Let's put it that way. It removes waste, there you go. So it cleans everything out. And there's a lot of research coming out now that talks about the link between gut health and weight management. So fiber is probably going to become increasingly important as this research really starts to come out, really cleaning out your GI tract. Does anybody have an opinion as to whether pita bread is better than white bread or vice versa? There's no difference?
I think pita's slightly better, but I don't think there's a huge difference.
Yeah, when I was doing my research, there really wasn't. I think pita bread is usually seen as a little bit healthier because you usually see it served with like healthier things like your vegetables and your hummus type things, but there really was no significant difference there. Other grains, rather than granola, which it can be quite high in fat and sugar, you can swap that for things like your kashi cereals, because at least that's going to have protein and fiber in it. Or your plain oatmeal. Same thing with your sugary cereals and your cream of wheats. Excess sugar can lead to elevated triglycerides, it's a depressed immune system. It also competes with other nutrients in your system. So if it's taking place in your cells and your other nutrients can't get in, you're now risking nutrient deficiencies. Your fried or flour tortillas. Has anybody tried any Angelic Bakehouse products? What do you guys think?
Very good.
It's good?
They're more filling because you get all the nutty, grainy parts of it.
Yep.
Yeah, they're tasty.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I mean, that was my assessment of them, but I'm also one person.
Where'd you get them?
Sendix has their wraps. I haven't seen their bread though. Are they there?
Woodman's got them.
Yes, Woodman's is usually where I get it. Yeah, and what I really love about the products is there's not crap in there. There's not all the preservatives and chemicals that a lot of the commercial brands usually use to keep them their products shelf stable. So, and I had been looking for a bread product that didn't have that stuff in it for a while until I found this.
What about a corn tortilla? Those are fair?
Yeah, you could do a corn tortilla as well. Just obviously not, well, preferably not a fried one. Mhm. So, but yeah, that was the main reason I really liked the Bakehouse stuff. Is just it didn't have all that extra chemical preservative type things in there. And I do agree. I think they stay with you longer. They are really filling, and they're really flavorful as well. I think they're going to be sold at Costco here because we had a rep in here.
They were at farmers markets in like Tulsa and stuff
Oh.
like that, where they were doing samples.
Oh,
and they would
nice.
give you samples of like the wrap with peanut butter and smushed banana in it.
Oh, okay.
Well, I think it's in their local.
Yeah.
Yes, they're out of Cudahy.
Cudahy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's another reason you want to support local.
And they're cheaper at the farmer's market than.
Oh, they're cheaper at the farmer's market. That's good to know.
Much cheaper.
Okay. All right, so instead of breadcrumbs, you can use things like old oats. Now, croutons versus chopped nuts. Chopped nuts are typically a healthier choice to croutons. You're still going to get a crunch, like if you're adding them to salad or whatever. You're going to get some healthy fiber. The only caveat here, again, is portion control. You know, the nuts might have a little bit more calories and fat than the croutons will, but the nuts are going to stay with you longer, and they're contributing healthier calories than the croutons will. Your proteins, meat is not a bad thing by any means, but you can always swap it. Oh yes, 6 o'clock. Go ahead. So again, the meats aren't necessarily a bad thing, but one of the things that you can swap your meats with are beans. Beans have lots of fiber, lots of antioxidants, no fat at all unless you're adding other stuff to it. So it can be a nice complement to a meal if you want to bulk up like a stir fry or casserole. You can substitute some of the meat there. Beans are also usually cheaper than meat products. Your regular peanut butter, like your Jifs and your Peter Pans, can be swapped out for the natural nut butters. Smucker's only has 2 ingredients, it's salt and peanuts, whereas Jif and Peter Pan usually have, I don't know, 5 to 10 ingredients, added sugars in there, all that stuff. What do you think about PB2? Yeah, you could do PB2 as well. Yeah, has anybody tried that? It's like a powdered form.
45 calories for your cookies.
In the PB2?
Yep, and you just mix it with water and it tastes just like when you're having a chocolate flavor. It's really good. You can add it to your shake.
I was gonna say it's a nice complement to if you want to do a homemade protein shake.
Yep.
Ground beef, you can use loin cuts of meat or 95% lean cuts of beef, or if you're trying to cut down on red meat, you can obviously swap that out for a ground turkey. This was an interesting one that I found. For a Johnsonville regular brat, you can swap that for an Applegate Farms Organic Sweet Italian. So side-by-side comparison here, the Johnsonville has 260 calories, whereas the Italian has 130. The Johnsonville has 21 grams of fat, the Italian has 6. Johnsonville has 8 grams of saturated fat, the Italian has 2. 680 milligrams of sodium in the Johnsonville, 500 in the Italian. No fiber in the Johnsonville, 1 gram at least in the Italian, and then 14 grams of protein in the regular brat versus 15 in the Italian. So not a huge difference in protein, but hey, it's an extra bonus when you've got some of these other things we can cut. Instead of frying your meats and your fishes, you can grill and bake. With your fishes, you can season with herbs and lemon to give it some flavor, or even just cutting down on some of the breading if you're going to, do it at home. Bacon, a substitute here could be prosciutto. Has anybody tried that, that? Okay. So 2 slices of bacon has 70 calories and 6 grams of fat. An equal weight amount of prosciutto has 30 calories and 4 grams of fat. So again, it's not like a whopping amount, but if you're adding that up through the day, or if you're having that as a snack or an appetizer or whatever, it will count. And then with steak, you can look for things like grass-fed steak, which is typically grass-fed. Cows are fed on a healthier, usually diet. They aren't always fed like the hormones and the, what's the other word, antibiotics. So if you're looking to cut down on those things in your diet, you can look for grass-fed steaks or organic. Your frozen meals, so as opposed to like your banquets or your Hungry Man's, you can look for your Kashi, lean cuisine, healthy choice. Evil is I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, Evil, okay. When I say it fast, it sounds really terrible. But that's a newer one that's out there, and I think they use better ingredients, if I'm not mistaken, as well. And then Cedar Lane Garden Vegetable Enchiladas was one of the better ones as well.
What, Amy's?
Yeah, the Amy's organic, I think they have an organic line, and don't they have a lighter line as opposed to the regular as well? Yeah, I think that was a better one as well. Basically, when you're looking at your frozen vegetables, especially with the sodium, try to keep that around 600 or less, which seems like a lot, but if you look at like your banquets or your Hungry Man's, we're looking at 900, 1,000-ish, something, yeah, even more. Well, yeah, with your Hungry Man's, probably even more.
Yeah, over 1,000.
All right, beverages. So for juice, you can swap that for fruit-infused water, or just actually a piece of fruit so you can boost the fiber. It'll stay with you longer. It takes longer to consume than just swigging some juice. Soda can be swapped out for seltzer with a splash of 100% juice, just a splash. Or LaCroix is back on the market. I think we talked about that as well. Regular tomato juice. Swap that for low sodium if you're looking at blood pressure concerns. Sweetened tea, you can do unsweetened tea with a little bit of honey or sliced fruit to give it some extra flavor. Your cream and sugar in your coffee can be swapped with milk and cinnamon. Cinnamon is supposed to enhance or give a sweet-ish taste. Or you could even do like a little drop of vanilla extract in there. You could try that. White wine for red wine. Red wine is typically a little heart healthier. Not that I'm promoting going out and drinking a ton of red wine. And then the vitamin waters are, I still think, pretty popular as well. Just you want to watch out with some of those because some of them have added sugars. And even the zero water or whatever it's called, some of the fat-soluble vitamins like A, D, E, and K, they need to be consumed in the presence of fat. So if there's no fat in the water, I guess I'm a little confused as to how your body even benefits from those vitamins. So kind of just wasting that.
How about ice, a drink? That's a water.
Oh, I think my mother-in-law brought that home one time. Does anyone, I can't remember what was all in there. I don't think there was anything.
They're fine, other than it's got the sucralose they use as the sweetener.
Okay.
That's the caveat on that one,
Okay. So, yeah, and
the
again,
ice.
you know, that's a continued debate with the sugar substitutes. You know, right now they're saying that the sugar substitutes aren't cancer causing, don't cause problems with health, but, you know, it still kind of remains to be seen. So just, you know, if you're going to consume things with sugar substitutes, just watch how much you're doing that, and as much as possible try to cut down on those types of things. Okay, does anybody have really good cracker substitutes that they like? Yeah.
I think Acme crackers, you can eat.
Yeah.
I like they come in like here's a 2 sheets and you can have like I don't know, like 5 sheets or something. It's amazing what you can have for the calories and they're very good. I know which ones. I
The
learned
Wawa
about them at Weight
crackers.
Watchers years ago. Yeah.
Do you like the taste of them
Do they
too?
have sesame?
Yeah.
And yeah, they're very tasty.
Okay. Good. You're good.
I don't know how much sugar's in them, but they're. We're not getting internet. We're not gonna pull it up on my phone.
If you put a little bit of like the Latin cow, like light Swiss cheese on them, it's a nice snack. This is like a little triangle is 35 calories.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the crackers are very much either. It's actually pretty good.
I've also put PB2 on them and they actually put them in my toaster oven as if it's like a piece of toast with peanut butter and it's
Yeah.
lower calorie and it just sounds amazing and it's crunchy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good idea, actually. I was using mine and dipping them in some guac for a little snack. Or you could put some salsa or some pico de gallo on there. Hummus, yeah, hummus. Yeah. So the Akbox, I found those at Sendix and Woodman's again. Any other stores that have those? Okay. I know at Sendix they were a little pricier for what you get in the box, but I do enjoy those. I think they taste pretty good.
Well, and Syndex also, and not really crackers, but has those pop things, and I don't even know what they're called. They have like that special machine that makes these like, they kind of come out like rice cakes.
Oh.
And they come in like a pack, they actually make them in like a corn or whatever. I don't know what.
Rogies or something?
Yeah, they've got a weird name to them. But they kind of come out flat and they're like rice cakes, but they're not nearly as dry, but they're really crunchy and they're good like for hummus, or they're good to have to use with dip because there's like 30 calories in like
They
a
look
big
like
one.
chicharrones without being fried.
Right.
And
And
like in a
Sendix
big
makes
pillow.
them?
Yeah, they
they
have
make
like a
them
little
fresh there.
station where they make them fresh, and
Oh.
they're really delicious, and they're really like crunchy,
I don't know,
and,
they're
and
like
they're great for if you need like a crunchy snack. And there's
Okay.
like 30 calories, probably anything to them.
Okay.
But they're kind of different and nice, you know.
And what are they called?
I don't know, they're like brogies or something.
Brogies? Okay.
Yeah, they have like a machine in the middle of the store that they make them. They come out like 6 to a bag, you know, and they're round.
Huh.
Yeah, they're.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they're
I'll walk by it.
Yeah, they're very good. Yeah, they don't make them all the time, but they have them sitting there all the time, you know,
Okay.
in the bags. But they're like really crunchy, they've got a good texture to them if you want crunchy, or if you want something to dip that's crunchy.
Okay. So it'd be like a nice substitute for a cracker,
For a cracker or a chip, definitely, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Well, that's
Like with
interesting. I'll
hummus
have
or
to-
with salsa, they're really good, yeah.
Yeah, I'll have to see if I can find those on. Okay, so yeah, even the reduced fat Ritz, if we do a comparison there, 5 of those has 70 calories versus the Wausau cracker. Has anybody tried those? They're a little bit, I like the Akmak more, but the Wausau I think is really good with cheese for a snack. They are a little dry, yes. But there's a difference in 30 calories there, and the Wausau sheet is pretty, I don't know, I think it's pretty big. No fat in the Wausau versus 2 grams in the reduced fat Ritz. There's actually 2 grams of fiber in the Wausau, and it depends on what flavor you get to. No fiber in the Ritz. There's some trans fats in the reduced fat Ritz. There's only 4 ingredients in the Wausau, and it's lower in sodium. So milk chocolate can be swapped for at least 70% or more dark chocolate. The higher percentage, the more health benefits we're gonna get. So dark chocolate typically has a little bit of fiber, lower in calories and sugar, whereas milk chocolate typically doesn't have any fiber. Your potato chips, you can try things like popcorn. One of my favorite brands is Sage. It's a little pricier because it's an organic brand. Again, Sendix and Woodman's carries it. And they use like 50% less oil, and there's not many ingredients in that as well. I think it's just like oil, a little bit of salt, the corn for popcorn. That might be it in there. You can do sliced radishes, obviously any type of produce or vegetable that's got a crunch to it. Pepper strips, kale chips, or soybeans. Pop chips is a better option for potato chips, but again, just watch the ingredients in there and your portion sizes there as well. All right, so Quaker Chewy granola bars. I wanted to look at these as opposed to the Kind bars because we've got several different things going on. So first thing we'll look at, the Quaker Chewy granola bars. One bar has 100 calories, 3.5 grams of fat, 17 grams of carbohydrates, 1 gram of fiber, 7 grams of sugar, 1 gram of protein. What do we think of that? What's our assessment?
Not a good option.
Why?
Well, first of all, there's really no fiber in there for that, and for 100 calories. Sugars is a little high, and most protein? One? Yeah, that's not good either.
Okay.
And then of course you start looking at the ingredients, you see why.
Yeah. Any other?
And the problem is there's so many granola bars out there. I mean, there's so many different brands and flavors, and you really, really, really need to read your labels because they are from A to Z. So they're touted as healthy for you, and they can be, but I wouldn't buy that one.
Any other thoughts on it? I think, and again, I keep reiterating this, but I think it's so important. And I think one of the reasons that you touched on it being lower in protein and lower in fiber is it's not going to stick with you. I mean, personally, I could probably eat 3 of these and still be hungry. Whereas if I eat something that's got a little bit more nutrient in it, it's probably going to stay longer. And then, yeah, we mentioned the ingredient list, and it's circled there for you, but we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then we missed this one, 8. I thought there was another one, too.
Molasses.
Yeah, molasses. Okay, so we've got 9, at least 9 different words for sugar in the ingredient list. And the ingredient list is quite long. I mean, I know there's several things that go into a granola bar, but it's quite long. Let's look at the Kind bar. Now, I know the ingredient list is smaller here, but okay, we've got 200 calories, so it's more than the granola bar. 15 grams of fat, more than the granola bar. 16 grams of carbs, so it's just 1 gram less. 7 grams of fiber, so more. 5 grams of sugar, so it's a little bit less, and 6 grams of protein. All right, what's our assessment of this?
Better.
We're going to be fuller longer with this?
Should be.
Yeah.
Well,
No,
and probably only eat 1 bar in comparison to the 3 bars from the other one.
yes, ideally. Ideally, yes. Yeah, and it does. I mean, it has a significant amount of fat, 15 grams for 1 bar. However, yes, we're looking at the ingredient list. The first ingredient is mixed nuts. It's not sugar. It's almonds, peanuts, and walnuts. Chicory root fiber. Okay, it's fiber. Honey, that is a source of sugar, but it's a natural source of sugar, or a more natural one, I should say. And at least it's not in the first 3 ingredients. Got some oil in there. We do have some sugar. Got rice. Cocoa powder is fine. Non-GMO glucose, okay, fine, that's another sugar. Sea salt, soy lecithin, milk powder, vanilla extract. But yeah, the ingredient list is much shorter. We don't have, 9 different words for sugar in there. We've got actual nuts in the product. So again, where the fat's coming from is a healthier source. And if it limits you to 1 versus 3 of the chewy granola bars, then I think it's a better win. All right, trail mix tips. I think trail mix is fantastic. It's something easy you can put together and put into little portion controlled baggies and take with you on car trips and on the road and to work and all that great stuff. It's just the issue with the store-bought stuff is typically they put a lot of salt on the pretzels and on the nuts, and then you've got M&Ms in there and chocolate chips and all that good stuff. So we're not always getting health benefits, even though it's really touted as like a health food. So ideas for making your own trail mix, you can use the Kashi cereals. Again, at least you're gonna get some protein and fiber with that stuff. Bits of dark chocolate as opposed to the regular chocolate chips. You can use unsalted pretzels or some popcorn in there. A variety of unsalted seeds and nuts. A little bit of dried fruit, just again, watch how much you're putting in there because it is more concentrated in sugar. And hopefully you're getting the stuff that doesn't have added sugar to it. And then you can also play around with seasonings like cinnamon, or if you want a spicy blend, you could do some cayenne pepper or some red pepper flakes in there, just to do something different with it. Condiments. All right, I want to talk about mayo. So, an interesting tidbit that I found out about mayo. Mayo is generally made with omega-6s from vegetable oil blends. But a disproportionate ratio between omega-3s and omega-6s has been linked to a risk for some cancers, heart disease, diabetes, rheumatoid arthritis, and osteoporosis. Most American diets are high in omega-6s. So we don't need added omega-6 in our diet, most of us. Mayo's made with olive oil, so I know a couple of years ago, was it Kraft that came out with, and they were touting that,
Hellman's has it too.
Okay, yeah, and it was made with olive oil, so it was supposed to be healthier. However, it says those types of products contain only a small amount of omega-3s, with the majority from 6s. So, just FYI there. Mustard, on the other hand, if you like that swap, mustard contains turmeric, which is an anti-inflammatory shown to reduce LDL oxidation, which means good things for our heart, and that can prevent arterial plaques around our heart. Creamy salad dressings can be swapped for oil, lime juice, balsamic vinegar, and/or herbs. Butter, vegetable oil, or olive oil, canola oil, grapeseed oil. Those are all fine to use. Misworded this. Vegetable oil or olive oil, canola oil, grapeseed oil can be swapped in for butter or vegetable oil. That's what I'm trying to say. Sorry. Grapeseed oil is one of the lesser known ones. Has anybody cooked with that? Like it? Okay, it has a little bit of a different flavor. It has a high smoke point, so if you want to stir fry with it, it's a nice option. And it contains polyunsaturated fatty acids that are linked to lowering cholesterol, so it's also a nice option if you get sick of doing the same old olive oil. All right, butter can also be swapped out for avocado or hummus. You can use avocado and hummus as a sandwich spread instead of butter all the time. It'll give it a different flavor. It'll give it a little bit of fiber, a little bit of benefit there. Other condiments.
Can I ask a question about the mustard?
Oh,
Is
yeah.
it just yellow mustard, or can you have brown mustard?
Yeah.
Any kind of mustard?
Yeah, any kind of mustard. Just again, watch your ingredient list because some mustards have more stuff added, and some of them might have a little sugar or added salt or whatever. So watch your ingredient list. Obviously, honey mustard's going to have,
Honey
more
mustard's a
sweet.
no-no, yeah.
Yeah.
Like yellow versus horseradish mustard, same?
Yeah, I don't know off the top of my head. You could compare the
I think
Compare the
orchard's a little
labels.
higher on it. It's horrible, but yellow is
higher in what?
calories and so
Okay.
forth.
You'd be better off just doing, mixing your own horseradish in with your mustard.
Okay, that's a good idea.
Yeah, yellow is your safest bet. I mean, if you're looking for the healthiest option, yellow is the best. And brown, depending on again which brand you buy, can
Or
be
green.
really close too. So there's the stone ground brown mustard kind of stuff. So again, read the labels, but much better options than the other ones. So.
All right, so instead of salted seasonings, you could swap those out for your unsalted seasonings and your herbs. Seasonings are concentrated with antioxidants. Just again, read your ingredient list because you shouldn't always assume that what you're buying is sage and only sage. You want to look and make sure there's nothing else added in there because sometimes they add stuff in there. I think Penzeys is usually good about not doing that though. It's another one. I think Penzeys is probably one of the best ones, right? I don't think we talked about mayonnaise being swapped out for Greek yogurt, but you could try that, especially if you like chicken salad, tuna salad, those types of things. All right, desserts. Some of these we talked about in the holiday one, so I'll skip over some of it, but some points I want to point out. Sugar alone by itself produces blood sugar fluctuations that lead to cravings. I know we've talked about that before, but I feel like I need to drive that home. And then naturally occurring sugar from fruit has less of an effect. So for those of you that get kind of hung up on sugar intake from fruit, that is not your first area of concern. Make sure you're taking a look at your added sugars in your diet. Raw pieces of cocoa beans are a good source of calcium, magnesium, iron, copper, zinc, and potassium. They also have a stimulating effect, though it's less potent than caffeine. So if you're looking for a little pick-me-up, you can have a little bit of cocoa bean. So the cocoa nibs, has anybody tried those? I have not gotten around to trying them. Are they okay? No?
They're better in a smoothie or
Okay.
something like that. If you like dark chocolate, it's just a really concentrated dark chocolate.
Okay. So did everybody hear that? She was just saying it's kind of rich or bitter, maybe?
It's bitter.
Okay.
It's like dark chocolate, really dark chocolate. They're just little pieces of it. But put them in a smoothie.
And that, so she was saying they would go better in a smoothie probably, and that's actually a good point too, because if you're looking for a pick-me-up in the morning, and you want to do a smoothie, maybe that would be something that would complement your smoothie and get you a little boost there. I think we talked about this too. You can do your own ice cream by pureeing fruits up with a little bit of almond milk, freezing it, and then eating it like it's ice cream. So you get a dose of nutrients, fiber, and antioxidants while foregoing the added sugars from real ice cream. Pureeing fruit with yogurt or almond milk produces a similar creamy taste. Other things, frosting. Since again we're around the holidays, I don't think we talked. Did we talk about frosting last time? But you could do like we did. Okay, I don't want to keep going over the same stuff. All right. So a little mini quizzes here. Not that you're eating all of this at breakfast, or maybe you are. I don't know. Not
Maybe you
joking.
get to sit down for that long.
All right, let's start with the croissant sandwich. What could we swap there to make it a little healthier?
English muffin.
Whole wheat English muffin.
Or a sandwich then.
Whole grain English muffin, maybe a sandwich then.
Egg white,
Egg white,
Canadian bacon.
Canadian bacon,
Turkey bacon.
turkey bacon.
turkey bacon, prosciutto. Okay, it looks like there's cheese on there. Any words about the cheese or not?
If you use like a hard cheese, like a Parmesan, you use a lot less and you get confused more flavors.
That's a great idea. She was talking about using a harder cheese and shredding it so that you're covering more surface area but not getting an actual solid piece in there. And I think did we talk about that too? Some of the sharp cheddars usually have a little bit more flavor, so you can get away with doing less. All right, what about our plate of goodies with the eggs and the, is that hash? Well, that's hash browns. What is, you know what?
Ham.
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 Toast. Oh.
Yeah, no, it's ham. Yeah. That's a lot of
Yeah, a lot of protein. You got ham, sausage, and bacon. That's a lot of protein.
Yeah. All right, what do you think of this one? Toss the
Send
whole
it back
plate.
instead
Go
of-
with one meat instead of three.
Yeah.
Just the egg whites. Egg whites and one yolk, like 3 egg whites and 1 yolk.
Okay, so 3 egg whites, 1 yolk.
Other than the cholesterol. Are egg yolks really that bad?
No.
No, so egg yolks got a bad rap over the years because of their cholesterol content, but that has all changed. Cholesterol from eggs is not a concern anymore. There's lots of healthy benefits to having an egg yolk as well. There's fat-soluble vitamins in there. There's choline, which is supposed to be really good for our memory. So having the yolk is fine. It's added calories. So if you're looking at 3 whole eggs versus 3 egg whites, so it's a significant difference in calories. So if you're only on a 1,400 calorie diet, you may want to swap some whole eggs for egg whites. Okay, and then I know that's not a brat, but we did talk about other substitutes for sausages as well. Or yeah, do your turkey sausage, yes. All right, and we've got pancakes there. Ideas for pancakes.
Keep those.
Keep them.
We do more of like a whole grain.
Whole grain one.
Yeah, there's whole wheat. Bob's Red Mill makes a whole
Yeah.
wheat. Not obviously you can't get that when you're in a
Or
restaurant.
thinner. I mean, like something that's more of like a crepe, more consistency instead of like a big buttermilk thickness.
That's a great idea. So yeah, more of a crepe.
There's recipes out there too using protein powder to make pancakes, so.
Yeah, and there's.
That's a good one.
I'm sorry, what?
Renee's got a good recipe for pancakes.
Who does?
It's
Sorry.
Renee.
Oh, Renee does. Oh, okay.
It's like cottage cheese and oatmeal but it's really good with jam, like main jam or jelly where you don't have a lot of sugar in it, but it's good with that.
I just-
love it.
I just
Yeah.
made one with oatmeal, bananas, and eggs.
Yeah.
That was it, 3 ingredients.
Yeah. Yeah, and what do you, I mean, as far as, because I'm a pancake lover too, I mean, that's a good substitute if you're a pancake lover?
Well,
Okay.
you get full off of just a few instead of, having your, silver dollar
stack.
5-pack or whatever you want.
Yeah, that's another food where I could just,
And then, of course, the other problem is then you gotta put the butter and the syrup on top, so then you just compound that, so.
use spray butter? Sure, you could, that would at
Fruit.
least,
Fruit?
yeah, or fruit puree or actual fruits.
Yep,
Oh, grapefruit yogurt? Oh, that's a good idea.
yep.
Not chocolate chips.
Sure, some dark chocolate chips.
You made it, Jeff.
He likes his indulgent pancakes.
Jeff is your man.
Some people like applesauce. Well, yeah, we talked about fruit,
Yeah.
but yeah, applesauce on top or peanut butter as a spread on top as well.
Sugar-free syrup or jam.
You could do a sugar-free syrup. Just watch the sugar substitutes. Okay. All right. What about these toaster strudel type things, or what are those called? Pop-Tarts. My memory will get worse as we go. Believe me. Fresh fruits. Sure, you could do that. Or what if you really like your pastry type stuff?
You can do like whole grain toast with like simply fruit on it or something.
Sure. Or yeah, again, the English muffin with some fruit puree on there and a little bit of spread.
Do you have an opinion on the English muffins? Like you've got the triple fiber and then, the whole wheats and, because everybody pushes fiber so much, then I look at triple the fiber. I don't know.
There was one that I was buying
Double
for a
fiber.
while until I found the bakehouse stuff. It was Thomas English muffin. I think it was the
It's like
whole
double
grain.
grain protein.
Double protein?
Was it that one? Yeah, I was buying that one for a while until I found the Angelic. I don't know if Angelic Bakehouse makes English muffins though.
I don't know.
Does anybody else? Okay, maybe I should write them and tell them to make them.
That's the name of your company.
Okay, but yeah, you could do, and again, compare your labels too if you're concerned about, because again, sometimes where they add or subtract something, they put something else in, so take a look at your ingredient list too. It might sound great because it's double this or whatever, and then you go to the ingredient list and you're like, oh, not so much. Okay, let's look at lunch examples. Any swaps we want here?
Salad?
Chocolate salad without the shell? No shell.
Yeah.
Greek
Greek yogurt for the sour cream.
For the sour cream, I couldn't see it at all.
Greek yogurt for the sour cream. Get rid of the shell. You put that on a bed of greens, possibly. Yes, plain Greek yogurt.
Yep.
Yes. Wait, no, I included the salad. Any thoughts there?
Add some protein.
Yes, that's a big one that I see on food journals. You guys, some of you do a wonderful job of having salads, but you tend not to bulk it up with any protein. So, you know, by 2 p.m. you're like, well, I had a huge salad, but now I'm starving. So, yeah, remember to put your protein on there as well. What about the sandwich? What have we got here? Oh, I think it's a, no, is that red? Chicken Parmesan with bacon.
Oh my.
Yeah, there's something else on there.
Start over.
Yeah, not really much.
Just get rid of it.
Yeah, there isn't much really good about that one.
We can't figure out
Whatever it is.
So,
Yeah, if you can't
so,
identify it.
yeah, I'm sorry. I put the picture in there. I was a little overzealous when I put the pictures on here.
Make the chicken.
Did somebody say grilled chicken
Yeah, grill
versus
the chicken.
the breaded?
Take the bun out altogether.
Put it on the lettuce.
Put it on a bed of lettuce.
Okay.
Lettuce and tomato will be fine.
Okay. Yes. Yeah, there you go. Take the chicken out, put it on the salad, and there you go. Okay, couple more. Swaps for snacks. What are we doing here?
Lots of salt.
Lots of salt. Okay, that stands out.
Lots of carbs.
Lots of carbs.
Do the Axac crackers that you're talking about?
Sure, you could try the Akmak crackers as opposed to, I don't know what kind of crackers they are, some type of townhouse looking
Those nice
crackers.
buttery.
What, I'm sorry, what about, what about the cheese?
Laughing cow.
Laughing cow.
Okay, Laughing Cow. Or again, we talked about doing like a sharp cheddar, so maybe you don't have to do as much. Hummus. What about like the pretzels and the chips? Salt-free.
Popcorn.
Popcorn.
Even baked might be better if you have
Baked?
chips.
Yeah, the baked chips, I think are about the same in sodium, but it will at least cut down on some of the calories and the fat.
No. What about veggie chips? And veggie sticks, not much different?
You can do that, but you're not gonna get any real benefit from vegetable there.
Oh, no, just as a different.
Oh, as a
yeah.
substitutes?
Well, because,
Yeah.
I mean, there's like different, it's not, I mean, there's like sea salt ones out there, there's one that's got like red pepper and cumin with them, and so they're like salty sweet instead. So just a different flavor other than like super salty actual chips.
Sure. Yeah, and I haven't taken a look at a veggie chip label in a very long time. Does anybody know?
Like
Off the
veggie
top of their head.
straws, They kind of look like cracker, but you can have like only 10 of them for like a lot of calories, so I don't know. It depends if you're controllers.
Yeah, that's the other thing, and you know, we talk about portion control as well. With some of these, you perhaps you can have the full fat potato chips, but then it comes down to portion control. If you're not willing to swap your potato chips, now it's portion control that you have to exercise. Okay. All right, dinner. Let's first look at the spaghetti. What do we think here? Zucchini noodles, we could try.
Or the whole wheat pot, the whole wheat noodles.
Whole wheat noodles.
Less pasta, more like veggies or
Right.
like chopped tomatoes or
Beans.
beans or something.
Yeah, one of the things that stood out to me with this picture is like there's even hardly any sauce or like veggie in there. I mean, I see a little bit of tomato, but I don't know if it's hidden or it's just whatever. It's mostly noodles. So yeah, let's bulk it up a little bit with some vegetable, get some protein in there. Some turkey meatballs, yes.
Not 10.
How about our fried chicken dinner? We've got biscuit, potatoes, corn,
We've got a limit of it.
fried chicken,
Cauliflower mashed potatoes.
baked potato, cauliflower mashed potato,
Well, different kind of breading for your chicken.
Rotisserie
baked
chicken.
chicken, different kind of breading, did you say?
Yeah.
Chicken?
Or rotisserie chicken.
Rotisserie chicken. This also stands out to me as a lot of carbs.
Yes.
You've got, well, it depends what kind of breading you're using on your chicken, but typically that's some carbohydrate. You've got potatoes, corn, and biscuits. Yeah, there's no color on the plate, that's the other thing. There's not even an orange or a red or a green or anything. So yeah, you have a mostly neutral plate there. This is potato salad. Ideas here. Fruit salad.
The German potato with the vinegar and oil around it.
Ah, German potato, so that uses the vinegar and oil as opposed to more creamy. Greek yogurt, yeah. Sweet potato. Or even just bulking it up with more vegetables.
Well, more veggies and just less, not as much, like I do a combination of usually like mayo and mustard together.
Yeah.
And just use a smaller amount to just kind of coat it a little bit. But then you get all your crunch from like celery or cucumber or green pepper or whatever else you want to put into it.
Yep.
And eggs. Yeah.
All right, and the last one, of course, is dessert.
Those are perfect.
I'll just
They're perfect. All right, we're not swapping it. We'll swap everything else, including dinner, for the dessert.
Just have
I see no
half.
problem.
Just a bite. Just a bite, just a bite.
Just a bite, so again, portion control there.
If you really want to,
Yeah, that's what we can do.
You know, have a
share it with go 6 ways.
Share it, okay.
Everybody gets a
Ideas for swaps though, because the theme is swap, right?
Frozen yogurt and yogurt.
But
Some
yogurt,
berries and maybe some frozen yogurt or yogurt.
frozen yogurt or yogurt and fruits.
You gotta watch the frozen yogurt though.
Yeah, you do have to watch the frozen yogurts. You again, we're getting portion
Skip the
control.
wafer altogether.
Have the what? The wafer?
Skip the wafer.
Skip the wafer. Yeah, I mean, it's technically a garnish probably for this. Or the whipped cream.
Or the whipped cream.
Sherbet, isn't sherbet lower, but it's still sugar?
Yes, yeah, there's still a lot of sugar in sherbet, but it is typically lower in fat calories. You could make like your own chocolatey ice cream using like a cocoa powder and a milk and futzing around with that and freezing that and kind of eating that as a substitute as well. Or you could do like Greek yogurt, like a vanilla Greek yogurt, add some cocoa powder in there, experiment with that. So at least you're getting a creamy, chocolatey treat. What about our peanut butter cup? Ideas here? None?
How about you could have like a spoon of peanut butter and maybe some dark chocolate.
Yeah! That's well, again, it's me. I think it's a nice treat. What was that? Cocoa nibs in the peanut butter. Yeah, or a dark piece of Lindt and almond butter. All right, so final thoughts here is not only making healthy food swaps beneficial to your health, but it can also enhance the flavor. Hopefully you picked up on that as well. Or even if it's not enhancing the flavor, it's sticking with you longer, making you feel fuller longer, satisfying you longer, giving you more health benefits by making some of these healthier swaps. All right, so I think the next one is on a Saturday, the 19th. Yeah, we had to squeeze it in before Christmas and New Year's. So we'll see you then. Good luck in the coming weeks.
Do they need the chairs?
Yes, please, if you can, put your own chair back, or at least towards the back, since they've got to get in here. Please slide in if you have it.
There is, like, you have a basket.
Is there?
I'm going to try to. Well, yeah, I can't go over and see what you guys are talking about, which is it. Because I work with people with, you know, we'll probably go tomorrow night. Which were you get tomorrow night? Oh, I think I get everyone in the here ready. I know, I love their techniques. Tomorrow night. It's hard, I know. And there's not, I mean, there's really not much we can do about that, even if it's not your option, so good at.
I'll get that in at 5:30.
So, that's all they got on Friday.
Yes, and you know, we're typically a little bit more sensitive to that, especially.
Oh, okay.
So get it. It depends. It depends on your body. Your body might hang on to the water.
I have my
for
doctor's
a
mask,
while,
my
and
third.
eventually, as long as you don't have any concerns with it.
No,
But
No, I have my plastic.
thank God there's a day or two.
Yeah.
So if you're trying to get on a scale and you just have an ice over the day before, you might see that. So. One thing you can try too is adding, making sure you have answers on tasks like moving along the ice over the meal. It will help to calm the balance of it a little bit, so like a banana or. Okay, that's good, yeah. And again, making sure you eat plenty of fruits and vegetables, because those types of foods are flush. So, yeah. All right, you're welcome.
I'll try it. Okay, 12 o'clock. Sounds good.